Oh, and welcome everyone to the Pantsless Podcast. We're here. With me here today we have Gradigi
Hello.
and we have Achilles Star.
Hello.
North is working and Trev is he's wrapped up in a college exam.
In higher learning.
Yes, higher than what I have. So I said it, he probably should take it. All things considered.
Yeah, some good solid advice. Take your tests.
Yeah, probably. I'm a. It's ironic because I've been like preaching that education is, important for a number of years, and then my own education was god awful, and I hated school very much. Failed school pretty heavily. Anyway, how you guys doing? What's happening?
I'm doing all right, man. How are you?
I'm so fucking excited. 1 week. 1 week away from the final Isaac DLC.
Ooh, yeah. That is
I-
pretty exciting.
That
It is,
that is
yeah.
yeah, honestly,
I don't-
for me it's very exciting.
Yeah. Like I'm not even, I enjoy Isaac, but I'm not even nearly as big into it as you are. Which I did see your tweet about getting 100%, which is
Mhm.
sick. Congratulations.
Thank you,
100%
thank you.
achievements.
Yeah.
And that's still
Yeah.
exciting because I feel like Binding of Isaac was like I feel like Binding of Isaac was one of the first real big like roguelike indie games of that type. So for basically that adventure from what, like 8 years ago, probably
cow.
7.
Yeah, I mean
Has it-
Rebirth came out in 2014.
Yeah. So 7 years ago since Rebirth.
Wow.
That's a long journey, and there's been like not a ton of content, but there's been a lot of content kind of sprinkled out throughout that whole thing.
Hold on, guys. We're gonna.
Crank yourself up a little bit.
Yeah.
I got a storm rolling in here, so if you hear some thunder, I don't think
It's not-
it'll come through. But
I
if
have,
you see me jump like I did earlier, that's why.
I have cranked myself up a little bit. It is super hard to gauge, like, because I don't hear myself, because I use two audio setups, one for the podcast and one for my own streams. I need to like shut things off when I do the podcast in order to, for shit to work. And this is the first time since I started using my other setup that I do a podcast with like two audio systems running. So it's touch and go, I guess. I could crank up the volume a little bit on OBS too, though. There we go. That is cranked up. But
Okay.
yeah, with Isaac, I've said this many times at this point, but I'll repeat it. It's been a long time, like, since the game came out, and I've been playing it since day one, like literally day one. And I have a lot of hours. I spent probably 4 to 5 years dicking around and not going for the achievements. So I could have 100%ed Isaac years ago if I wanted to. But this is the second time I've 100% the game. First one was vanilla before any of the DLCs came out, and I hated that experience. I vividly remember going for the last achievement. It was such a bullshit pain, and it was the last achievement. And I said to myself, I'm not gonna fucking stop, now. And
Right.
and I got it, and And that's when I threw my hands up in the air and said, never again. I'm never going to do this again. Like, because it was such a pain.
So, do you remember what the achievement was?
Yeah. Bandage Girl.
What's that?
So there's 4. So there's an item called the cube of meat and the ball of bandages.
Mm-hmm.
They spawn from the horseman bosses. So there's the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse: pestilence, war, famine, and
Plague, whatever that one is.
Shit. I have over 1,000 hours in this game and I don't remember the bosses. Anyway, they're the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. There is Conquest also, which is the kind of the 5th one, but he's not tied to the achievement. So in order to get Super Meat Boy or Bandage Girl, you need 4 cubes of meat or 4 ball of bandages, which means that you have to fight all of the horsemen in one playthrough. So for those who are not anyway familiar with the game, it's a level-based game, so you advance, you go downwards with levels, and every 2 floors the level kind of changes, so the enemies swap around, and there's another boss pool that you have to fight. So, but you only fight one boss per level in like normal circumstances. So the first floor, famine can spawn, and a bunch of other bosses can spawn. So there's the first obstacle. Get famine to spawn. Okay, well, you have famine. Then you go to the next sets of levels, and then you need pestilence to spawn. But again, it's pestilence plus another set of bosses that may or may not spawn. So just the odds of getting all the 4 right bosses in one playthrough is astronomically low. But there's an item called the Book of Revelations that guarantees a horseman boss if it's available. So this is what I did. I hold the R key down until I spawn next to an item room. R resets the run. Walk in, and I go to the item room, and I press R until I spawn with an item room with the Book of Revelations. Fine, I get the Book of Revelations. Then the run really starts. Then it's up to me to not die and, get the 4 items. Here's the fucked up part. The last one, which is death, by the way. Death is the last one. Death spawns in the womb. But it has a 50-50 chance of spawning Conquest, which does not give the required item. And it is the last boss.
Wow.
That's brutal.
I got Conquest twice. And on my 3rd go, after hours and hours of resetting, I got death, finally. Because the fucked up part is that when you get the book and you start the run, you fight the first boss, the famine. There's a 50-50 chance of either dropping the cube of meat or the ball of bandages. But whatever you get, then you get the rest of the set for the rest of the run. So I had runs where I spawned, I fought famine, and it drops the cube of meat, it's a reset. And then, I get the ball of bandages, nice, I go on, I die, reset. I get the ball of bandages, I get down to the womb, Conquest spawns, fucking reset.
That's brutal,
That's
man.
rough.
And you have to do the achievement twice. Once for cube of meat, and once for ball of bandages.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, you have to do it for Meat Boy too. Then
Yeah,
is the other one. You get bandage. Okay.
So I had the Meat Boy one. I have no idea when I got it or whatever, but I had that one. Ball of bandages. The Bandage Girl one was the last one that I did on my first 100%. I hated it.
That's nuts.
Yeah, I can see that being like rage inducing to the point that I don't know if I would finish it. Be like, all right, that's enough for me. That's rough.
I probably wouldn't have done that. That is tough. Because I mean, like you said, even if you get lucky enough and everything's going well, and then you just die.
Oh yeah. I died on runs too. Like if the run just sucks, then you die.
Yeah. Oof.
Yeah,
That's a lot of luck.
It is, and like it's bad enough. I hate odds based achievements like that as it is, but to like throw in that many levels of odds on top of not dying in a game like that is definitely. I mean, on one hand, I do, I kind of appreciate the fact that a lot of games don't have a challenge, an achievement, whatever, that is really difficult. A lot of games, like all they get to 100% a game is you just got to play it enough. But yeah, I prefer it to be more skill based than odd based when it comes to the one or two that's really hard to get.
I did. So now that I've 100% of the game again, I started doing it in January. I had about 60 achievements left, and some of the achievements were really easy to get. They were just like stuff that I had purposefully like avoided doing. So that was kind of nice, and then obviously the character-based achievements, just completion stuff. Some of them were like difficult, like some of the characters are just difficult to use, and you gotta like beat the hardest bosses. I got incredibly lucky on some of the runs, and especially like I played with the Forgotten, who's an interesting character and the character I don't like in any way. And I had to beat Delirium, which is the final boss right now until the last DLC comes out, and arguably the hardest boss in the game because it's super random, like how the boss fights. You can't learn a pattern for it. And so I went in, I streamed even the run, and I said, let's do one Forgotten run. And on that one fucking run, I got the boss kill. So and to me,
nice.
I was mentally prepared to like try over and over and over and over again, like during multiple streams, because I then I had like a fucking god tier run, and just incredible items, and I remember I was one hit away from dying, and I had so much damage that I was killing the boss very, very, very quickly. And I remember like getting hit. I had one item that keeps me like alive. It brings a shield. I popped that too early, and because I thought I had enough time, but I didn't. And I was one hit away, and there was so much shit on screen that I did not see anything. I just clicked the buttons to do the attacks, and then the boss died.
Wow.
Oh, nice.
Well, I guess you had to you took your luck from there, or from the future. You took your luck from the Bandage Girl run, and you just put it on the Forgotten. You can't have both.
Funny enough, the Bandage Girl achievement that I did years and years and years ago, that was the first time I streamed. Not on Twitch or just in TV or anything. I streamed on Steam to one friend. The Steam broadcast system was arguably like pretty new at the time, and really shit, like really laggy and everything. And I was complaining to this one buddy, and he asked if I could stream it for him. I'm like, oh, fucking let's pop it on.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's
pretty wild.
I think it's gonna be cool. I'm ready for the DLC though. The final.
Yeah, definitely. Hopefully it is the final. Hopefully Edmund keeps his fucking word this time.
You sound like you're mad that he keeps putting out content.
So, and yeah, okay, so honestly, this is the time. Let's put Isaac to rest. Like, let's, because you can bloat again.
Yeah.
And I think Isaac is already a little bloated. Some of the stuff that's been put into the game, not so good. You know, and Edmund is now selling a new product, so he's hyping up the thing. And I mean, I trust the guy on some level. I think Edmund is a flawed person, definitely, because there's a bunch of stuff that he says, and then like backtracks and cancels projects and whatnot. It's a problem. He acknowledges this problem himself too. But like, he's obviously now telling that Repentance is going to be the best DLC for the game. And I mean, okay, I'll make my decision on that like when I play the thing.
Right.
But everything I've seen so far, it really looks to elevate the project. The entire game.
Yeah, should be good.
Definitely, I am balls deep, like hyped up.
Yeah.
So I was hoping to get your guys' opinion on something completely separate from Isaac. Not to jump ship, but have you guys heard about the rumors of Microsoft purchasing Discord?
Yeah. I actually wanted to talk about this, so I'll switch the topic for us too.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to.
Oh no, go ahead. Just start.
No. Oh well, no. I just yeah. So that's one of the things that I've been talking with a bunch of different people with lately. So I was kind of curious what your guys' thoughts were on the rumors and what you think would happen if it actually does go through. The last rumor I saw was $10 billion, which a lot of people say. A lot of people say is I think their last evaluation was about 8.5 billion for Discord. And put it in perspective. So this is I ran some numbers for a friend of mine. We were talking about this. So Microsoft bought Skype in 2011, so 10 years ago, and they paid 7.5 billion, I think, $7.5 billion dollars. So 10 years ago, somewhere around $7 billion. They, at the time, Skype had 400 million users. Discord has, wait for it, 400 million users. Now, concurrent users is quite a bit different. Today, Skype still has about 40, they claim about 40 million concurrent users. I find that really, really hard to believe because I don't know anybody that uses Skype.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it seems a little out there. Where Discord is somewhere around 10 million concurrent users, which to me actually seems low.
Yeah, that does seem low. I think I know how Skype's concurrent users is so high though, because a lot of installs for Windows will automatically have it on there.
That could very well be it.
And like a lot of times, whenever you're setting up your email and stuff, and you just next through things, it'll sign you into Skype. I had to completely uninstall it because it just kept launching. I guarantee that's how they have that number.
That makes complete sense. That's actually a very good observation. I actually didn't think about that. Now, the other rumor I heard is that they're going to kill Skype off because they have Microsoft Teams. And when you look at Teams, like when one of the things I brought up, people were talking about, well, is it really that big of a deal? Like Skype was a verb, right? Like for a while, that Skype was the Kleenex of video conferencing. Like, I'll Skype you. Not something I did personally a lot, but I know that was a big deal. And then now it's not, right? It's Zoom. Like, hey, I'll Zoom you, or let's have a Zoom, even if they're not actually doing it through Zoom. And what I've noticed from our meetings, especially in the last year, if it's family, personal, that kind of stuff, it seems to be more people gravitate towards Zoom. On a professional level, it's almost always Teams now. Like every meeting I've had with customers over the last probably 3-4 months have all been Teams. So what my company uses, we've gone full on board on the Teams. So Microsoft has that product, and it seems like it is replacing Skype, and it's a way, way better product. Skype is they ruined Skype by trying to monetize it in a way that it didn't need to be monetized. They had the calls. They thought it was going to be used for like international calling, and that never really took off in that area. So I'm really curious if Discord already has its monetizations in place. I don't think they're great. I think that it could, like $15 for Nitro is outrageous. I think the server boost cost is obviously people are paying it, but it still seems incredibly steep for what you get. So I don't know what if Microsoft will take a GitHub approach. They bought GitHub, everybody was mad, and they've pretty much for the most part left it alone or made it better. Or if they'll take that Skype approach where they're gonna just try to monetize it into the ground, or somewhere in the middle where they did with Minecraft, where I think they've done a pretty good job at monetizing Minecraft while still kind of honoring. I think Minecraft Java Edition for $30 is a little steep, but outside of that, they don't want you to buy the Minecraft edition, right? They don't want you to buy the Java edition. They want you to buy the Windows edition. So the fact that they just didn't flat out kill Java and left it in, so it is a really Minecraft is a company that I just don't know. I mean, Microsoft is a company that I just don't know what direction they would take a product like Discord. So I've been really enjoying over the last couple of days talking to people and getting their opinions and what they think. So
I know where it goes.
I was pretty excited. Lay it on me, Tom. I've been really excited to hear what you guys are going to think about it.
They're gonna smack it right next to Game Pass, guaranteed. If they buy Discord, it's gonna be a.
I'd be okay with that. So you mean like you think Discord Nitro would be included with Game Pass or
something like that? I mean, it's clearly like I know Discord is they've been trying to like shave off the gamer tag that they have on their product, especially with the pandemic. Yeah. But I feel like because Microsoft has Teams and they have Skype, if they don't kill Skype, then I think they will even more likely they will just like it's Game Pass and Game Pass just has Discord in some capacity.
I'd be okay with that personally. I already pay for Game Pass for PC. It now includes the EA Pass, which is another topic. But so if they included Discord Nitro in your Game Pass, and that was just one more thing to throw on. I mean, especially because think about it, Discord Nitro is $15. Game Pass Ultimate, I don't actually remember what it is anymore because they have the 3 tiers, right? $10 for Ultimate or just Game Pass?
No, Ultimate is with like console stuff.
Yeah, I think it is 15.
15, yeah.
$10.
So
$10
I mean,
for the regular, just for PC.
Oh, okay. So the PC is 10, and then the console is 10, and then if you have both, it's 15. Is that?
Yeah, I think so. So Game Pass Ultimate, like if you buy Ultimate on PC, you get like Game Pass for your console. Because I bought Ultimate. When I bought Game Pass the first time, I was completely shit-faced. And in a call with Sully, and Sully was talking about Game Pass and I should get it. And I just clicked stuff. And I don't like, and then I asked, like, what's this Ultimate? He's like, don't buy the Ultimate because you don't have a console. And I'm like, don't tell me anything, man. And I'll just click
Well, I know, like, it used to be when you originally had Game Pass. So they have, okay, yeah. So originally when you had Game Pass, it was just Game Pass, right? There was no console, PC separate. It just, they had a few. Hi, Nancy. She really wants to say hi to everybody. When you first had it, they just didn't have as many games on PC as they did. And you were 100% right, Grant. I'm looking at it now. So $10 console, $10 PC, $15 for Ultimate. So if they said, if they included, and EA Play is included on, looks like PC and the Ultimate. So if they did that with Discord Nitro and they added that in there and they didn't raise the price of it, I think that's a no-brainer for Microsoft. Of course, I've had some other theories about no-brainer decisions that they have not done, so I could be way off, but including it was not something that I thought of, Tom. So I think, yeah, I would, as long as they don't try to change it and they just want to add it to their portfolio. There are some changes, but that's also maybe another discussion.
It also worth noting that there's also heavy rumors that Discord is planning on going public. If they do that, then the Microsoft deal won't happen. At least, like,
I wouldn't think so. I wouldn't think it would happen. No, that sounds to me like it's one or the other. Either they get bought or they go public.
Yeah. I think it almost sounds like Microsoft is shaping up to give Steam a run for its money. Like
somebody brought that up to me. Yeah.
Because we already know that like the technology for Discord to be a store is there because it was, and even though it was the store, I always thought the Discord store was a good idea, but it just didn't. It wasn't implemented well. But if you could implement if you could implement Discord into a store that gives people a big reason to use it, the big reason being Game Pass, of course, and then also include the Nitro version of that in your Game Pass, I think that that's what they're doing, because that, like, and I think we're gonna see almost like a cable package as they acquire more companies, and all of them are going to say also includes Discord Nitro. And that's going to be like the overarching bonus, is that no matter what package you, whether or not you go with the id Software package for an extra $5 or the Bethesda package or the EA package, Discord Nitro also included. And I think if that'll be like that little throw in, like even if they have no plans to change Discord and just maintain it as on basically its current trajectory, I think that's what we'll see if that happens. Like if that doesn't, like you said, that seems like an obvious thing that they should do, but they may not. But I feel like that is exactly what they want to do, is they're trying to give Steam a run for their money, because they've been trying to push their own like in-app store hard the last few years, and it didn't really pick up until they came out with the awesome Xbox Game Pass, and it gave people a reason to start going to that store. So now, not only are they starting to give Steam a run for their money, but now you're already in their store, you might as well look at their other non-related gaming products.
And there's one, like, so that's one of the things that several people have said to me, is that the whole point is to give Steam a run for their money, and I 100% agree with that. Microsoft has one big problem. Their store is absolute dog shit. Their integration is absolute dog shit. So the EA Play, right? So EA trashed Origin, which Origin was a shitty launcher. It was a resource hog. It was horribly optimized. It was tough to navigate. It just was not a good launcher. And as much as some people do, get angry with Steam, to me, there's no better launcher than Steam. Their last rework was a fantastic.
Before we go too far with it, because before you said you loved Steam, I was going to ask, do you think, because I was just thinking, like, Steam really, they captured lightning in a bottle. The Steam launcher is amazing.
It is.
Now, is it amazing, or do we have Stockholm syndrome because we've been using Steam for 20 years? Not quite 20, I guess closer to 15, but
I honestly believe, like, Steam, not Steam, but Valve, I guess it's Steam, but whatever. Yeah. Steam they have years and years and years of user data. They have years and years and years of like,
they're the OG launcher.
Yeah. So, but like, because when I compare, like, because I'm gonna be honest, like I've said my what I think about Game Pass. I think Game Pass is an excellent service. It's a dog shit fucking launcher too. Like the searchability is shit. It's impossible to find anything, and it's just hard to navigate. And whatever the friends list thing is on there, it doesn't work. It's the most confusing thing that I've ever seen. Like getting into a game with your friend, because we've done Sea of Thieves with Sully and Trevor. It's difficult. Yeah. So
it gets worse. Oh, sorry, Tom. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Finish.
The same thing happens with like Origin, like EA's whatever, their own thing, and with Uplay. Now Uplay might be a little bit better these days, and granted, Ubisoft's like library is not that big, but if anyone wants to go against Steam legitimately, you can't half-ass it. Because, Steam has such a big head already. And they have the user base to back it. You gotta have, like, say what you want to say about the Epic Store. It's also not that great, but at least they're putting basic functionalities into that thing. Like a reliable, like, search engine, like, for games and a shopping cart.
That's what I was about to ask. Did they get the shopping cart yet? Because I still don't have it. I don't have Epic on my computer.
No, I haven't launched the thing in many months, but
no, they have not. You still have to buy a
one at a time
product.
Oh,
yeah, one at a time. Now, admittedly, I have not launched the Epic launcher in a month, so they may have added in the last month, but not that I'm aware of.
If they still didn't have a shopping cart in February of 2021, it doesn't make it any worse or better if they finally added it in March of 2021.
That's a good point. I can tell you something that's even worse, and that is we kind of talked about this briefly before about the whole EA Play. It's just literally a disaster. Like the EA Play, as excited as I am and as happy as I am to be able to play Battlefield for free without having to buy EA Pass, the integration between the two has been, first of all, the launch was just complete and utter chaos. Like people have Game Pass that had EA Play but didn't have them linked. You couldn't link them, and even if you did have them linked, like I don't even remember all the steps that I had to do and all the forums I read. Like it probably took me like 2 hours, which, you think, oh, that's 2 hours, but it shouldn't take 2 hours for something as simple as I have this account and this account. They're already linked. They already know that each other exists. But then when this product launched, it didn't, it didn't, it just didn't work. And eventually, after closing EA Play and getting the Xbox app and having it download, I finally got it to where, so Origin's gone. They now have a new app called EA Play. I finally got the EA Play app to realize that I have Game Pass. And that was just so that when I went to download a game, it would actually download it and not try to charge me for it or try to get me to buy the EA Play Pass or whatever. But then you still couldn't do it in the EA Play app. You have to have the EA Play app. You have to have the Xbox app. You have to download the game from the Xbox app. But as Tom alluded to, their search, it does not work. So I typed in Battlefield and in the Xbox store, Xbox app store, no Battlefield games showed up at all. So what I had to do is I had to sit on the store page, close the Xbox app and reopen it and keep doing that until Battlefield 5 came up as one of the games that they wanted me, like, you should check out Battlefield 5. And then I could download it for free. Like, that is unacceptable. Absolutely unacceptable for a company. And that's, so people say, well, they want to give Steam a run for their money. If they want to, if it's like, if this is Steam and then Epic is like, crouching up, Xbox store is like over on Tom's screen 10,000 miles away from me. Like they are nowhere remotely close to getting to, and they have the money, they have the engineering, they have the research. They could do it. They don't have the same research that Steam has. That the evil Apple has now had to hand over to, or Steam has had to hand over to the evil Apple. But because let's be real, that's what that's all about. But I think I don't know. I want to see competition in the launcher market, but I don't want 1,000 launchers. So it is kind of,
that's when you get a GOG Galaxy.
Yeah, exactly. And we'll see how that works out. But to go back to the Stockholm Syndrome thing, Steam looks very, very different today than it did. I actually just looked. I have my 16-year badge. So if you think about what Steam looked like 16 years ago, if you think about what Steam looked like 3 years ago, they did a huge rework. Was the beginning of 2019, beginning of 2020, something like that?
I think it was 2019.
And yeah,
sure.
And at first it wasn't, but once they worked through some of the bugs and stuff like that and got it working a little smoother, I really honestly do believe that I think Epic is making progress way more than Microsoft has. But and Uplay is not terrible. It's not great either. It's better than Origin, but then again, I've got them. I've got a freaking button. I've got a freaking folder on my Steam Deck just for launchers. Like it's, battle.net, throw that one in there too. It's, but it's because they're all segmented, right? You go into all of these things. I think what Steam has going for it is it does not have a monthly subscription free game thing. Did they? I haven't. Rose, I haven't actually looked at Uplay since they did that. So you could be absolutely right. And that's actually exactly what I'm talking about. All of these have these monthly subscriptions. If you pay us monthly, you get the games for free, right? And then they want to push that down your throat so goddamn hard that it just ruins their launchers. And Steam does not, and I do not ever see them having anything like that ever. I pray to God they never have anything like that. Because the lack of advertising for products, I mean, obviously you have it on the store page, but you have to go to the store. That lack of advertisement where I can just go into my library and it's just my library. And there are improvements I'd love to see in Steam, but for the most part, just nobody's going to touch it until they get that through their head. We have to let people see their library, see the games. If they want to get in the app and play the game, we need to let them do that without bombarding them with all this other bullshit. And until companies get that through their head, Microsoft included, nobody's going to catch them.
Yeah. I think
Rant over.
I think over the next few years we're going to be seeing a lot of launchers consolidate. Like eventually EA Play is just not going to exist, and it's just going to be through the Microsoft launcher. And I think that eventually the Bethesda launcher will go the same way. And I feel like their sales have to have been hurt by doing that. Like, I am way lazy and I don't want to download Uplay. I don't want to have EA Play. I don't want those other things on my so I just don't play those games. Like, as bad as that is, I just don't play them. And
yeah,
like, you know, how many other people aren't playing them because I refuse to have 15,000 launchers. So I feel like it's probably hurt some people, especially like people, you know, people that are young kid sales. They have to go and bother their parents every time they make a new account so they can get their credit card and all of that. And no parent, after the second time, they're going to start getting suspicious. Didn't I just give you a credit card for something last week? And it's like, yeah, that was EA Play. Now I want to buy games from here too. I feel like people, the companies they had to have started feeling that at some point. And I think over the next couple of years, we're going to see all those different launchers going away.
I honestly hope GOG Galaxy just like develops further their own platform and has all the launchers connected to it. Then you only have one place.
It'd be nice.
Yeah. Good.
I just don't see a lot of companies playing nice with GOG because what's their incentive?
I mean, obviously
they have more of an incentive. Yeah. I think they have more of an incentive to put in roadblocks than they do to play along. So that's my only fear.
Probably can't like connect Game Pass to GOG or stuff like that, or
right?
Probably not the Bethesda launcher, but who cares about that one, especially now,
right?
But speaking of EA, just like a random thing that I saw today. A player, a FIFA player, has in response to EA's so you can buy foot packs in EA in FIFA, these player cards to make your team better, and they are notorious for various reasons. Now EA has been saying that you don't have to buy these packs. You can just by playing you can earn points, and then you can buy the players you want to buy, and thus you can create your own team. So a player then said challenge accepted and calculated how much time he would have to spend for his ultimate team.
Is this another Darth Vader situation? Well, where you had to work a full-time job for a week to unlock Darth Vader in the first battlefield?
Oh my god.
So
yeah.
this is what he came. This is his own like what he came to. To summarize, like for his own team that he basically wanted, he noticed that he would have to play a grand total of 22,000 hours of the game, or pay 80,000 British pounds
to unlock everything
for unlocking his ultimate team.
Oh my god!
Oh my god!
And he calculated this. So you claimed that everyone can get all players they desire without spending money on the game. Here's my dream team: a mere 100 million coin team. So the coins refer to the in-game thing. So is this achievable? And here's my options according to you. Play the game, 10 million coins in the game, assuming an average of 1,500 coins a game, accounting for weekly rewards. That's a mere 66,666 games. So he would have to play 66,000 games for that. At an average of 20 minutes a game, that's a mere 22,000 hours of gameplay, or 916 days of gameplay 24/7.
Wow.
And then he asks, like, is that realistic? Obviously not.
Yeah. That's insane.
Did they respond? I'm assuming
no.
not.
I mean, his like Twitter thread went viral, and a lot of like clickbait article sites picked it up, which is why I found it. I find this most ironic. This entire thing it's a notch more ironic to me because this comes after EA employees got caught selling these cards to players.
Oh, yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah. That's it. That's crazy. Yeah, I remember whenever the first Battlefront came out, there was a lot of uproar about how they were trying to basically forcing you to spend money on the game because it was like 43 or 44 hours of gameplay to unlock Darth Vader. One character.
80 hours.
It was 80 hours? 80 hours of gameplay to unlock one character that is on the front of the box.
Yep.
So
we want our players to have a sense of pride and accomplishment.
Yeah, that's the kind of bullshit they said. You got to work for it. Why not?
What pisses me off with this is like, yes, there is an option not to spend any money aside from you buying the game. There is an option, and then the question, and what this user also on Twitter asked, if it's realistic. 22,000 hours of gameplay is not realistic of any video game. Or spending upwards of 80,000 British pounds. It's not realistic in any way. So the option is there to not spend money, to just play the game. But I feel like it's one of those false. This sounds stupid. It's a false fact because it's not obtainable or achievable by anyone.
It is technically correct.
Yeah, technically
the only
correct.
kind of correct that matters.
Yeah, technically correct.
But is it to say making something reasonable? You could say is reasonable subjective, but it's not as subjective as a company like EA would like to think it is.
Yeah,
I don't know. There's plenty of courts that also decide what is reasonable in different situations.
Right. Exactly. That's my point.
Yeah.
That's exactly my point. So, the problem is people do it. People spend the money. EA would not continue these practices that they have been continuing for years if people weren't spending the money.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
Clearly people are, because the practices have not gone away.
Oh yeah. I mean,
and they won't. They're not going to, because there's enough. It doesn't take a lot. They only care about the money. So as long as they're making it,
yeah, I mean, the
grind
is there just because they know that the grind is so
pays
fucking
off.
hard. Yeah, it's like They put a mountain in front of you, and then right next to the mountain there's a dude who's like, you wanna have a booster? And it's like, yeah, I can't fucking climb this shit. Here you go.
I mean, here's the fucked thing is, like, it doesn't even matter that guy said anything. They've already made the bulk of their money. By the time that article went live and everybody gets pissed off and no more people buy that game on that day, no more people buy that game, they've already got 80% of their sales. They don't even care anymore. I'm not shocked at all that you told me that you said they haven't even responded, because they don't need to. Why would they? Mm-hmm. The only thing, and they know that the only thing they're going to do is put their foot in their mouth. So they're just not going to say anything, and then they're just going to put out another game in 6 months, and they're just going to keep making money. And then someone's going to get pissed off about it after they have 80% of their sales, and then we just...
So people are still going to keep spending money too. So it doesn't even matter.
This is also like worth considering that, and how little like in the end people don't care, obviously.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's a huge like backlash for Battlefront 2 with the whole Darth Vader thing and the time spent and whatnot, and it's like huge uproar. Even Disney got involved. Like, what the fuck is this shit? Like, you're tanking our IP here. And then they're like, sorry, so they revamped the fucking thing, magically, because, it wasn't possible first, but then it was possible, so who knows what the truth is anymore. But then people are hyper focused on this one game, and then fast forward a couple years, now we have a game where you need to, you don't play 80 hours, because, that's kid stuff. You play 22,000 hours to achieve what you want to achieve in this game.
I mean, that's the thing, is like that. This, like you said, this is literally the exact same drama. This is the exact same issue. And like they don't learn, and nobody cares. This is why I don't want to say that I'm justified, but every time some shit like this happens, I do feel justified that I hardcore boycott EA. I've thought about canceling my Microsoft Game Pass account. Because I know a portion of that money goes to EA, and I feel bad about that, and I'm probably gonna cancel my Game Pass because of bullshit like that. I hate it. I hate that people call, and that's probably not even the first time. Who knows how many times they've been called out on financial stuff that we don't even hear about, and that we even us who talk about it all the time forget about, and nothing happens because people just keep handing them money. Like, I don't want to.
Yeah, I mean,
I've just talked. It's happening. I'm canceling it after this.
It's important to understand too that the people who play FIFA are the people who don't care about video games. They're the most casual bunch of gamers. They don't play a video game. That they're not gamers, and they probably have never heard of fucking Star Wars. Let's face it. Maybe they have. Who knows? I don't care really. And I mean. Yeah. Ultimately, what I want to see from the world is like some form of fucking regulation against loot boxes, and some form, like, I don't know, like do I want some government entity to like step in and like tell EA that this is not reasonable, like make your game so that people don't have to spend money? I don't know. Is that too much? Like, it is. Just don't buy their fucking games. Just
don't buy them.
Yeah, don't buy the fucking games.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing, is like it's that easy and it's that hard. Like,
it is.
In some countries, FIFA is the best-selling game by a large margin, and that's not, even though we hate EA. And we, like, I feel like the three of us could reasonably, the two of you could reasonably stop buying EA games right now and not be reasonably impacted in your gaming habits. But there are people that only play FIFA, Madden, NHL, all those type of games, whatever EA games have, EA Sports, those are the only games they play. So what else would they do? That's all they're going to continue doing is just keep playing those same games, because and they're going to continue pumping out those games, because I guarantee that EA Sports is their biggest money making section. 100% EA Sport because of FIFA.
Probably FIFA.
FIFA is here. Like when EA shows profits on like a PowerPoint presentation, they have two different columns where the profits are. One column is just FIFA, and then the other column is every other game they have. And the FIFA one is higher than everything else.
I know I've said this once on the podcast before, but FIFA makes them so much money that they didn't stop making the PS2 versions of the game until 2015 because so many people were still buying FIFA for the PS2. You can buy FIFA 2015 on the PS2. That's how much money they make. Yeah.
Yep.
That is insane.
They make billions. Billions.
It doesn't help that FIFA as an organization, and hopefully I don't get shot over this. They're just as corrupt as EA, if not worse. So they're getting a piece of that. Obviously, they're getting a piece of it. And so it's not like it's ever going to be any different because they're getting, FIFA's happy because they're making money. EA's happy because they're making money. And then you've got somebody somewhere is giving them all this money, and I guess they're happy because they're giving them all the money. But to me, when a game like FIFA, where that comes into, I feel sorry for, if you're legitimately a fan of FIFA and you want this and you're pissed off. Well, what I was gonna say is, I feel sorry. Obviously, that guy then wrote that thing. Maybe he is, maybe he's not. I don't know. But to me, it's like you want to ruin FIFA, whatever. I'm never buying it or playing it or whatever. But then when that shit leaks into the other games like Battlefront, like they tried, then it, people, you get a bigger uproar. I just find it interesting that they, as much smaller as a game Battlefront is to them, maybe Disney put a little pressure on them, and that's why they kind of stopped. But
just to paint a picture,
it's just surprising.
Just to paint a picture what kind of organization FIFA is. They are directly responsible for the deaths of over 6,500 workers in Qatar, where they are building the next the World Cup stadiums.
Mm-hmm.
So I can sit and rail on EA, but ultimately FIFA the organization is responsible for people dying.
Yeah.
They are
that's
way
not the first
worse.
time.
Oh yeah, no. Yeah. It is one of the most corrupt organizations in the entire world.
It's worse than the Olympics when it comes to as far as how they leave a city when the World Cup is over. A World Cup can decimate a city. I don't know. I guess I was going to say, I don't know why a city would want to host it, but I know why, because the people that are currently in power when FIFA picks that city gets a shit ton of money. And so they don't care about their city. They get the money. And it's the only reason a city would ever allow a World Cup to happen in their city is because whoever is in charge of that city is getting a shit ton of money. Because there is no city that ends up better after a World Cup is over than it was before it started. It just flat out ruins the city. And they may be able to come out even because some of them aren't that great to begin with. But they're building these giant stadiums for World Cups that then just never get used again. Like, it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense for a city to actually do that unless the person making the decisions getting a shit ton of money and bouncing.
Russia built an entire town for the Sochi Winter Olympics. It's completely abandoned now.
Yeah. The Olympics are notorious for doing that too. I think the difference is a lot of times the Olympic, it can ruin places, but some places can manage the infrastructure and it's not, they.
It also helps that they choose the places where Olympics are held years and years and years in advance.
Yes, yeah. And they a lot of places try to figure out what they're going to do after the Olympics are over. in advance as well.
I
So
mean,
what are
there's
they going to do with
places-
all this
There's
shit?
places they rebuild like stadiums and stuff, but the Olympics
Mhm.
usually Olympics are because they are chosen very much like in beforehand, and they choose cities where they can like actually host. There's way less corruption in the Olympic Committee than there is in FIFA. They're not comparable with each other. The Olympics are way more
Yeah.
like friendly. I mean,
Mhm.
there's people that like they don't like getting the Olympics in town because it brings like tens of thousands of people in, like just not spectators, but you know the athletes themselves, and the athletes need to like live there, and there's no amount of hotels that can like support that, so they build
Right.
they build the Olympic Village everywhere, and you know it apparently it gets like rowdy and you know
The Olympic Village, that's what they call it?
yeah.
Oh yeah, you never heard that?
No, I don't watch sports at all.
Yeah, it's
Oh.
called the Olympic Village.
They
I'm
call it
not
Olympic
sure-
Village. Yeah, where all the athletes live. Yeah.
Huh.
But it's
I didn't
like
know that.
in movies and TV shows and stuff. That's what I guess that's where I'm more surprised that I'm
Yeah.
not an Olympics guy. I don't know. Like I didn't. I think did we miss Olympics or something because of COVID? Like I didn't even
Yes,
know
we
the
did.
Olympics got
The
canceled.
Tokyo
I think we
2020
talked
games
about
got
the Tokyo
canceled.
one, yeah.
Yeah, we did talk about this before, but I
Yeah,
do.
no,
I am.
I just assumed that they would just like get hotels.
Yeah, no.
No, they build like literally an entire town for all the athletes. You never heard
Huh.
like the rumors are like all the athletes are having orgies and drugs and
They're not,
You can
they're-
do that
all
in
kinds of-
hotels.
They're not rumors.
yeah, but it's different when it's right. Yeah, I know, but it's
They-
different whenever they're all in one.
They bring
like
Yeah,
tens
secluded.
of thousands,
Yeah.
if not hundreds
Yeah.
of thousands of condoms into the Olympic Village, because the athletes they fuck so much.
A lot of dong.
yeah.
Goodness gracious.
But I mean, but like I can understand it because these are highly motivated people who have like a singular thing that they're aiming for years. They are training for that
Yeah.
one thing, and they focus on that one thing for that one push that they do during the Olympics. And once that's over, that's the tippity top of their years and years of work. After you've done, my God, you need to relax. And what do?
Release.
They fuck, and they
Maybe-
fuck a lot.
Hear me out. Maybe they shouldn't give them condoms. Think of the super soldiers we would get 10 months after the Olympics. Maybe they should take away the condoms. That's what we need. We need to breed
Oh.
human potential.
Yeah.
Well, the problem though is like there's a lot of the athletes, right? They're gonna be they compete again. They do multiple.
Oh,
Olympics,
yeah.
So
Yeah,
you're
it
also taking some out of the pool. You need to need to be like test tube babies. That's what you. Really
Yeah.
Exactly.
Because, I mean, there are straight up some of them that have like genetic advantages. Like Michael Phelps, I guess, has like abnormally long arms. Like and apparently that's a part of the reason he swims so fast. Breed that into more swimmers. We'll put him in the Navy.
Yeah, man.
You know?
leave it to an American to militarize the Olympics.
Too bad.
And then, like-
Too bad. Mr. Phelps smoked a joint, and then he had to like.
Oh, I know,
Oh.
poor guy.
Yeah.
Oh,
Weed
God.
is the devil.
It-
Weed is everyone knows
So-
how notoriously against weed I am.
Yeah. I don't think like because when Phelps got like when he confessed to his misdeeds, it was years ago. Like I think
Yeah.
the reception would be vastly different like today, because it was just he didn't like use any like doping or stuff like Armstrong did, but
Just old school dope.
yeah, old school like
Yeah.
smoke
Yeah.
smoke a doobie and go swim a little.
Yeah, I bet that's relaxing. That sucks for him.
Yeah, I feel sorry for him.
Yeah. It's ridiculous.
I don't feel that. Slow down. I don't feel that sorry for him. He's set for life.
that's a
Oh
good
yeah, I
point,
mean
yeah.
yeah. I mean
It does suck.
He's one of
but-
those rare athletes that he could like endorse him,
Yeah.
like not himself, but he could like get a lot of deals and get a lot of
Oh,
money.
yeah.
Not
Like
a-
right now,
Well, he
he's-
lost. he did lose some endorsements, right? Over that whole
He
thing.
probably lost everyone.
He sat at home wiping up his tears with money, ripping a blunt. That's what he was doing. He's like, oh.
The biggest, fattest one.
Just awful. Poor guy.
Yeah, poor guy.
Oh.
Probably like, finally, I can stop having clean cycles now.
He doesn't have to have a piss buddy anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man, yeah, that does suck for him though. That's thankfully that stigma. I think even in the last 3 years, 3 or 4 years, the stigma on weed is like, I mean, it's insane how much more socially accepted it is.
I don't know though. I don't know like if weed is still on the no list for the Olympics, for instance. But like I've read the rule book for a bunch of like esport tournaments, and they have like a list of, most of them are just like actual medicine that you can't use, because they go under like performance enhancing drugs. But weed is not on that list.
Yeah, I feel like weed is giving yourself a handicap in esports.
Yeah, probably.
Oh.
But yeah, there's a bunch of like, basically like anxiety pills, for instance, or heart medicine, or anything that slows down the pulse, essentially. Keep you more calm and not have the jitters.
Interesting.
A lot of archers, if they use doping, they use a lot of like slow down their heart rate. They can have like a resting heart rate of like 20 pulses per minute.
Oh god, I'm having a total brain fart. Well, never mind. I lost my train of thought. Sorry. I had it there, and then I was
doping.
Listening to the
a little doping.
Oh my gosh.
I saw a little documentary today. Who remembers who Ikumi Nakamura is?
Ikumi Nakamura.
Not me.
So, I know Joe has seen her though. Nakamura was on stage a couple of years ago on E3 when she presented Ghostwire
Ghost
Tokyo.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's adorable. Yeah, she's my waifu.
So, I'm gonna link this in chat. You guys can watch it like if you want to. It's a 17-minute long documentary where Nakamura essentially, so she does not work for Tango Games anymore, and she's created her own indie studio and wants to create a new IP. I honestly like. I read an article where all the information that's in the documentary was in the article, but then I decided to just watch the article, watch the video anyway. It's the weirdest documentary I've found, and probably the most calming and the most serene documentary I've ever watched. Because it's just her. The cameraman is basically just following her, and she goes into these abandoned buildings, takes pictures, and then she does the voiceover like for the video, and that's it. And they have like some weird music going on, and that she just talks about her career and her E3 trip and then the new studio. And she goes to these 3 locations and takes pictures, and you barely see her like face or anything in the video. The camera is mostly like from like walking behind her, and it was just, I don't know, it was super calming. The most calming documentary I've ever watched in my life.
I'll have to give that a watch. That's awesome.
Yeah, there's practically no pictures of Nakamura aside from the ones from E3.
Yeah.
I hope she's successful in her endeavors with the new studio. She said that she wants to create a game with a lot of dark jokes, and I'm full supporting of dark jokes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She compared herself to Deadpool of the Marvel characters, so I'm fine with that too. In terms of like what she feels like her personality is. Fine, that's cool.
Yeah, if I had to compare myself to a Marvel character, I would aim at Deadpool. Thanks for the great video. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, like if for those watching on YouTube, get the fuck over on Twitch, by the way, so you can see chat and get the links that I provide. Because on YouTube you're fucked, But yeah, I enjoyed the little 17-minute video, and that was
That's pretty cool. Yeah, I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, I definitely will. Yeah. So I bought. I went out, did a little shopping this weekend, and I found a game that I think you'll both be familiar with. I bought a little Dino Crisis.
Dino Crisis.
Oh, nice.
Right.
Are you gonna stream it?
That's hilarious.
I probably will. And it does still have the demo disc for Resident Evil 3 as well.
Damn, dude.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It does still have the
amazing
demo disc. Yeah. It's.
Damn, dude.
I'm pretty happy with it. I was pretty. I hadn't. We had went to a few game shops. Went to a few game shops and a few board game shops, and I hadn't really seen any games. And then on my way out of the corner of my eye, I see Tomba, Dino Crisis, and Bart the Bat. I think wasn't that a PS1 game? Something like that. But I was torn between Tomba and Dino Crisis, and I was like, all right, I'll take the Dino Crisis. So I scooped it up. Yeah. So yeah, I do play it on.
That's
Have you guys
awesome.
ever played Dino Crisis?
No.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So it's basically Resident Evil, but with dinosaurs, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Pretty much.
Sick.
Yeah. I mean,
I wanted the Dino Crisis remake. I was really hoping. This was before the RE3 remake came out. There was a lot of rumors, and there was something that they trademarked with Dino Crisis. I think they updated just their trademark, but there was a lot of some leakers also said that there's a Dino Crisis remake like in the making in lieu of like RE2 remake, which then didn't.
Well, yeah,
didn't
and they what game did they remake? It was a game not too terribly long they re-released. Turk. Right? Didn't they get a re-release of it? I think it was on Humble Bundle.
I think so. I don't know about Humble Bundle, but I think it was Turok that got a re-release.
Yeah. Yep. I know me and some buddies were playing it for a while because some of my younger friends had never played it before, and so we were having.
Turok has some awesome music.
It does. It's got and we like we're playing online, and we actually had people joining. I was surprised at that we could actually get a multiplayer lobby in Turok and have people join it. But I think it might have been in a Humble Bundle, and it was like right after, so that was probably why. Because it was like the Steam release. But yeah, I don't know if I played which Dino Crisis I played, because wasn't there 3?
Oh, I don't know.
I think there was 3. I don't remember.
Yeah,
I know.
I will be going
Dino
pretty blind into this game.
Pretty blind, yeah. Was 3 on Xbox?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I didn't play that one.
I don't think anyone played that one.
Yeah. Oh wow, I'm looking at screenshots of 3. Holy cow.
Does it look just like 1?
It looks like somebody's gone through and maybe remastered it. And some of the scenes look pretty dang good. But for the most part, yeah, it looks terrible.
Yeah, I think Dino Crisis 1 and 2 is what like people remember mostly and what they played mostly.
Was 2 on the PS2? Seems like I played it on a PS2 though.
I mean, it's possible.
Or was it still on PlayStation?
PS2 plays PS1 games. Both Dino Crisis 1 and 2 are on PS1.
Okay. So I probably played the first one. But yeah. Man, that's been, over 20 years ago, so
yeah.
Or close to it anyways.
in a related vein to this game, and probably the only game that I've put any amount of time in like this, did either of you have a Dreamcast? No?
No, I had a buddy that did, but I did not.
There was a game, and I don't know if it was on anything else. I've never looked into it. It's called Blue Stinger. It's like it was basically Dreamcast's Resident Evil. It had multiple characters in it and had big monster bosses, and it very much seemed like a ripoff of Resident Evil. I would recommend looking into it. It definitely and I believe it even had fixed camera angles. It's been a long time. If you ever want to just look at a pretty solid Resident Evil knockoff, because it even had like the inventory where you only had a few healing items. Yeah, those were the 2 playable characters.
Oh my gosh,
dude!
It's gonna link this in chat too.
Yeah, so
oh my gosh,
the dude on the left,
Holy
I think,
cow.
had like heavier weapons, and then the dude on the right was like faster on his feet. It was, and I remember.
I could show this. I think I don't know what this is gonna show, but
he's got it.
Yeah, that's
He's
what
got
they look
pants
like.
straight up to his belly button.
Yeah, man.
does.
This is
That's
quality Dreamcast. This right here.
Yeah, it was a fun game. I liked it, and I would recommend that game if you like these type of games. I remember the final boss, or at least the final boss I got to, was like this giant monster in an end-ground pool. It was stuck in there, and you had to like shoot it with a rocket launcher. And I couldn't figure out how to hit it. And that's whenever I stopped playing it. Oh no, I ran out of rockets.
In-ground pool.
Yeah, it was like like an Olympic-sized pool, because it took place in like a mall or something. It's been so long. But it was like an in-ground pool, and you had a rocket launcher, and I just ran out of rockets. So that's whenever I stopped playing it.
Ran out of rockets, 0 out of 10.
Yeah. Ain't that just the way?
Speaking of, I believe last time we talked about the Ouya. I don't know if it's the last episode or 2 episodes ago.
Yeah.
So I haven't done anything with it yet. However, I did look it up, and there are people that run a private Ouya game server, and they have instructions on how to set up your Ouya so that you can connect to it and play the games, and like still be able to have access to. I don't know. I haven't looked into it enough yet to see like if you can only play games you've previously bought, or you can still buy them, or if it's just the free games, or what exactly is entailed in there. So I got to do a little more digging, but that is something that I'm planning on getting into real soon, and maybe getting into some Ouya game streaming here before too long.
Yeah, that would be interesting. I would definitely watch that.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah. If I can get it working too, I was actually going to just do a video on how to do it, because that's one thing I could not find. It doesn't look like it's too terribly difficult to get set up. So, and I've got 3 here, so I thought about, if I break one, I've got a backup.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So, Dying Light 2 devs had an announcement to make, and Dying Light 2 is an upcoming game, sequel to Dying Light 1, obviously. But they had an important announcement to make to everyone, and that announcement was that they are indeed still developing the game. They made a little video. Like reading comments off of Twitter that were basically all very vulgar, asking for the game to come out. But yeah, I don't know.
Well, it's been a hot minute.
They've admitted that they showed the game too early, like straight up. It shouldn't have been like announced as early as it was. And
when was it announced?
A couple years ago. But they went like super fucking silent after that. And then like the next time,
I actually thought it was canceled.
Yeah, I mean, many people did. Like that's why I think that's the main reason they made the video, because a lot of people like were straight up asking if the game's canceled, and they were like, "No, we're still making it, man." But they went super silent, and then it wasn't super good when they I forget what the dude's name is. He's one of those legendary video game writers. he got accused of a bunch of sexual harassment, and then he parted ways with Techland.
Mm.
They didn't really comment too much about that either. It's the same dude who made he did stuff for Vampire Masquerade Bloodlines 2. And I guess those things that he did for that game got like redone. Yeah, erased his shit completely.
Wow.
But yeah, Dying Light 2 is still coming out. Apparently.
I feel like all you would have to do to avoid that kind of BS is just share a screenshot every once in a while. Just once a week, throw out a screenshot. And it doesn't even have to be what you're working on, because no one's gonna know. Just throw out a screenshot.
So it looks like they looks like they started their own Discord too, so that they can
that's
regularly.
Yeah, they promoted the Discord in the video too, and they have a section where you can just like ask questions, and they promise to make like AMA style content in the future. I don't know like how much they could actually like answer. I mean, no developer really like takes answers like questions like that, because why would you? I mean, the game comes out when it comes out, and you're not gonna spoil your video game beforehand.
Right. Yeah, I don't know what kind of questions you could ask that would be different enough to institute an AMA. Like how many different types of questions could people ask that you could answer without spoiling the game?
That's because that's what I thought too. Like it was a little weird. Like, yeah, you can submit questions here, but okay, what's the questions? When's the game coming out? That's one. And then what's the story?
Specs. Or what's the specs?
Yeah, what's the PC specs or whatever,
Yeah.
Does it come out on console, Is it gonna suck like Cyberpunk on console, Speaking of consoles and sucking, IGN released an actual article where they actually interviewed someone, and then they wrote down what that person said. Yeah, and they interviewed Remedy's some communications broski, and where I don't have the article anywhere, so this is come straight off the top of my head. The Remedy dude basically like criticized developing a game for 2 console generations and how much it like sucks ass. And he laid like things that I never considered, where he said like, yeah, you're developing like a video game for the older generation, and then the new generation comes out with new technology, where that you can't implement like new systems in that old game when you port it to the new platform, because those systems are not built for like a future. So a lot what Remedy had to do with Control, for instance, is remake stuff to get the lighting. You can't like put better lighting. You have to like redo the lighting like system in the video game to make the better lighting. And the criticism was more like it takes a lot of resources from smaller studios, where they spend this time and money like upgrading their video game to the next generation, when they could instead spend that time and money on developing the next game.
Yeah, I mean that makes complete sense.
For sure. I mean, I think that whenever you think about certain parts, like what he was saying with the lighting, whenever you think about like what the next console generation brings out, is like a whole new way to render lighting. So you have to, like you said, you basically have to do the lighting for an entire other game that you're not actually making. Like, you can take what you can from the new one and get it in there, but everything that doesn't fit, you have to make from the ground up. Whenever you're working on ports like that, it's not even really a port, because you are remaking entire portions of it. I mean, I know we talked about it some last time. I get where the work comes from, but also a lot of money. So
I just wish they wouldn't do it. I think either, especially for a game like Cyberpunk, they either could have made it for the previous gen, or since they went back and redid the whole game, you just make it for the next gen, and you just say, either don't release it and say, okay, we're just gonna wait, or mean, that 100% of their problem came from trying to release it across multiple generations and on PC.
Yeah.
And that could have been avoided, but they were trying to reach as much of an audience as they can, but I don't think it was to reach an audience. I think it was to sell copies.
Oh, definitely.
And that's,
they are out there. I'm
sure that comes
money.
from. I mean, I get it, and that's their, the studio's job. Like they're there. I mean, they exist to make money, but I just don't understand why so many companies are willing to risk their reputation just to make a buck.
Yeah.
And to me, it just long term, it seems like.
Come on, guys! It was like
there's
a genuine mistake. We could never foresee what would happen.
Well,
yeah.
The
we
answer
didn't know there were going to be that many people on day one. I love that response every time. Sorry.
Yeah.
Joe.
No, you're good. The answer I have to that about like them, why would they risk their reputation for a quick buck? Look at EA. That's exactly what we were talking about.
They don't give a shit.
That was what I had in mind.
Yeah.
They just don't give a shit.
You said it'd make a quick buck to ruin your reputation in the long run. What long run?
But it does. Yeah.
Right. It doesn't. I mean, the long run in the internet's memory is a week and a half, because that's whenever people forget about it. Like unless EA gets lucky and someone else is a bigger shitbag. But I mean, the long run is like a week and a half, 2 weeks. Here's
the reason why Cyberpunk or CD Projekt's reputation has not gone to the toilet yet. Their next game comes out in 7 or 8 years. 7 or 8 years in the future, there's gonna be an army of new gamers out there who have never played a CD Projekt game, and they weren't there when Cyberpunk was launched. They don't know about it, and they maybe a few of those lucky ones find some threads online where people were like, I was there 8 years ago when Cyberpunk got released, and it was dog shit.
There will be people that bring it up, but you're right. Yeah. The number of people that will bring up how shitty the last game is will be vastly outnumbered by the hype. And a lot of that has to do with them buying hype. So and honestly, from all the money they made on their last shitty game.
honestly, like with Cyberpunk 2, like they have time to, repair that reputation. If they push out patches and the general vibe of the game gets just better, and more people are like, oh, the game's actually pretty awesome right now. This exact same thing happened with Witcher. It is hailed as one of the greatest RPGs ever made, but it was dog shit on day one. No one remembers that, aside from those people who were there day one. I was not one of those people. And I hail it as one of the greatest fucking RPGs ever made too. And I think, Cyberpunk probably won't reach those same heights because the meat under all the shit is not as good as Witcher was.
Did Witcher have the hype wagon that Cyberpunk had?
Oh, no.
Okay. So I think that's the difference. Is like you say, no one remembers the shit that Witcher was. That's because no one cared.
Yeah, that's a good point. But nowhere near like the hype for Cyberpunk is carried because Witcher 3 is such a legendary game at this point.
Yeah. The Witcher 3 is the reason Cyberpunk rode that hype.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not Witcher, like you said, it's not Witcher day one. Witcher, 6 months in. Sorry, go ahead, Nate.
Yeah.
Oh no, you're good. I was just say on the flip side, you've got games like a fucking space exploration game. I already can't think of the name of it now. No Man's Sky, right? Like they turned it around, right? Yeah. Like it's still, in my opinion, a shitty game, but it's closer to what they promised. Has a lot more of the features that they said would be there.
I mean, they did the work for it too,
right? And exactly, that's my point. So I think if they were to come out with another game, people might be a little bit skeptical, and it would definitely hurt their day one sales. I don't know if it would hurt their overall sales, and I kind of feel like Cyberpunk might be the same way. But my issue with Cyberpunk is I personally think it's a bad game, not a buggy game. I think it's a bad game, and I won't get into that because I don't want to spoil anything with anybody. But that doesn't mean it's a bad game. There are things about it I don't like. And when more people have played it and that there's a time to discuss it, I will discuss it. I kind of almost wish I hadn't said that because I don't want people going in with any kind of opinion. And I say that saying I will probably still eventually beat it. But I do think what'll happen is it might make some people hesitant day one. But I think as long as they don't repeat those things, that's the catch, right? If they repeat those same issues, it's really going to hurt them because their day one sales for whatever is next, it might be fantastic, but I have to imagine they are going to be somewhat affected by this, even if it is 8 years down the road. Maybe it's 10% less, but 10% is 10%.
I don't think so. And I can tell you, I can tell
you
you
don't
why.
think it'll?
No, there's a very simple reason. There's gonna be millions more gamers in 8 years. Millions upon millions of new players that are not players yet. The number of the finite number of gamers is just gonna be bigger. I mean, and yes, obviously it's impossible to say what's gonna happen. If because CDPR, they have to do a lot of work to maintain the positive outlook for their company. So if they don't fuck up Cyberpunk, if they actually fix it, if they actually make it into a game that is generally viewed by the whatever populace is as a good game, then I think they will be fine. Because they can hype their next project up at some point. They'll be fine. And if it's a Witcher game, then it's easy.
Oh yeah. Yeah, if I think, and that may make a difference. What the game actually is will have an impact. I guess that's probably number one, the most important thing. Like, what is that game that will affect it? What I was mostly getting at is I don't think it'll have an impact on long-term sales of the next game. I think it'll only impact day one sales, and then if the game turns out to be, have the same issues that Cyberpunk did, then it would affect them, but it'd be that game's fault. But you might be right. On the other side is, do you think gaming as a whole is going to, gaming is way bigger than it was 20 years ago, right? Like, not saying that gaming was not big in the 90s.
Gaming gets bigger every year. There's every year the finite number of gamers. Yes. Because every year, because Joe, you and me, we're not going to stop playing video games next year.
That's a good point.
But every year, there's a new batch of people that are becoming gamers. Every year. Because we three are old enough that we can comfortably say that we were on the forefront, the first real gamers. Not like, I know there's older gamers than me. Like, don't
right.
Don't jump my throat, chat. But the fact is, that for a lot of us, like we were there. We were there when Nintendo released the NES. We were there for the Super NES.
Yep.
And we're still here. My dad's not a fucking gamer, but when I'm 60, I'm still gonna be playing video games. Why would I stop doing something if I like doing it? Yeah, I understand.
What I mean is like, I guess the good example I can put, and maybe this is not a good analogy, but if you look at like Facebook, so when Facebook came out when I was in college, but my college didn't have, not to date myself a little bit there, but my college didn't have Facebook, and it was like a big deal, right? So when I went, the first university I ever went to was Southeast Missouri State University, about an hour from Joe. And the first thing I did when I got that cmo.edu was sign up for Facebook. Because at the time, mind you, this is 16 years ago. Oh my God. Surely not, right? 2005? Is that 16 years? Oh. At the time, that was the thing to do, right? And then Facebook, and not that Facebook hasn't continued to grow, but younger kids now do not have Facebook. Like, it is not, because there are eventually what happened is, they open it to more and more and more and more people. And now all of a sudden, all these old people have it. Now, that obviously was a very fast cycle because it's very different than gaming, right? Gaming is not a thing where you're going to automatically have all these old people come into it. But what happens in 20 years when all of these Twitch celebrities and all these famous gamers are 40 and 50 years old, and maybe there's a new batch that'll keep the rotation spinning, but I just always wonder, at some point in time, I don't think because gaming was not always cool. In the 90s, it was getting, it started, but like, if you were a hardcore gamer in the 90s, it was not like it is today. And I think eventually that the tables are going to flip. I mean, they don't have to, but I feel like they might. And maybe we won't see that in our lifetime. Maybe it will never happen. But I still think that as the current generation of the hardcore gamers that are our age, I think as we get older, younger generations are going to find something different. It's like motorcycle sales is another example I have. Like, Harley Davidson is not going to exist in 10 years because millennials don't ride motorcycles. But if you look back to the 90s, everybody had a motorcycle.
I hear
in
what
America,
you're saying.
like,
I hear what you're saying.
but I don't know if gaming.
But here's the other side. We're talking about
Sure.
entertainment. I'll pose this
That's
question.
a good point.
When did movies have the biggest year in the history of movies? The year before COVID.
Probably 20. Yeah, say 2018, right?
And,
that's a good point.
And when will movies have the next biggest year? When COVID is over.
Yeah.
And I apply the same exact logic to video games. The gaming industry, like as entertainment, is the biggest industry in the world in entertainment.
It's a good point. Yeah. You were not wrong about that. So
it will plateau though. It definitely will plateau at some point in the future. Like obviously everything does, but I
going to the movies has.
I mean, movies will probably die away at some point again, but the industry of movies, like movie making, is many years older than video games. My point is rather that like. I do believe that every year that goes forward, the finite number of gamers will rise, like up and up and up, and probably will do that until the day we die, at least.
Probably.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like the more people do it, the more people are gonna do it. Like if you think about a movie, like you can sit down and you can watch a movie and enjoy it, but if you watch a movie with a friend, it's a lot better. So you're going to get a buddy to watch that movie. And it's the same that's the same way with any form of entertainment. With video games, all it takes is one dude, just takes the core guy to get a PS5 and suddenly that whole crew has a PS5,
Yeah.
And that's not always the case for everything, but I think the more people that continue to game, I think next year this year and next year we're probably going to see that drop off of the temporary of the Rona gamers,
COVID gamers, yeah, Rona gamers. That's a good, that's a good title. I like it, Rona gamers.
But I think after that, and maybe not. I mean, I think it will drop off, but I don't think it's going to be that drastic. And then I think we'll probably have another big lurch forward after that from like the leftovers.
I think we'll see a drop off just from people that are doing things that have been not doing things. But I think, but people still sold out Switches. Those Switches are still in people's homes.
Yeah.
Consoles as a whole are, sold out everywhere. And those people that bought them still have them.
Mm-hmm.
I think
gaming is so ingrained into our lives, not just ours, but like the mainstream, and we're not just like PC gaming or console gaming. I mean, mobile gaming is the biggest, like of all the gamings.
Yeah,
and practically everyone plays some form of video game. Like when we were kids, it was like a definite possibility that you could meet a person who has never played a video game in their life and never will.
That's true.
But I do think that like today it is way fucking harder to find people that are younger than us that have never played a video game or never will play a video game.
Yeah.
Impossible. I can't imagine meeting. They have phones. They all have phones. I mean, anyone over the age of 10 just it seems like has a and that's getting younger and younger every year. I mean, my nephews are they have phones
with kids too with their phones. You have that one kid who plays Fortnite in school, and he gets like his buddy like watches over. What's that thing? Oh, this game. Oh, okay. And then that kid downloads Fortnite, and then the entire school plays Fortnite. I think gaming, it gets so integrated into our lives, just like watching movies or listening to music. Because like music or movies won't go anywhere. No one like expects it to go anywhere. And the same I apply to gaming. It won't ever go anywhere. And like at this point, I mean, somewhere in the future obviously will, but when we all die in a fiery blaze of glory.
Yeah, the mediums for those things may change, but those things will fundamentally be the same.
That's a good point. Yeah, the medium is definitely. I would have never imagined. Oh, sorry. I was just saying I would have never imagined cell phones, gaming on cell phones outweighing all other gaming combined. But it does.
Yeah, and this is what Dare was talking about when they said gateway drug, because like this is everybody has a smartphone. Everybody has a smartphone. I mean, kids in kindergarten have smartphones. So all you got to do is go download Fortnite for free, and the next thing you know, you're screaming at your parents because you want to get a PC so you can play it online with all your other buddies because you want to sit down and be cool like your other friends. Boom, gamer born because you gave them a smartphone. That's it. That's all it takes. Quick question, since we're talking about how things used to be in the 90s with gaming. Did either of you ever know anybody who secretly or lied about playing video games?
Oh, yeah. I did.
Yeah. Did you?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Because, there was some kids on the block who didn't appreciate video games because they were like the nerd stuff. And I never played video games. I was part of that. I had a skateboard and stuff. I was totally skating all the time.
Well, you were a cool kid, yeah.
Yeah. Because I remember vividly when the shift kind of happened, when everyone just kind of, because there was a moment like when I was back in school, and this was still when like in certain circles like gaming was like frowned upon, but there was one group that I like. It was. This is gonna sound fucking horrible. I confessed to being a gamer, and then they were silent a little bit. Yeah, we actually play games too. Fucking vindicated.
I have a very similar story, but it's not about video games. It's about Pokemon. So I was at a buddy's sleepover, and we were like 12 or something. We were in middle school, so it was like peak we gotta be cool time, and it was real quiet, and we were all sitting around and talking and stuff. And I didn't lie about it, but I didn't bring it up either. But someone eventually brought it up, and we got to talking. And then it turned out like everybody there secretly had a stash of Pokemon cards. And I was like,
"That's hilarious."
What? Why did you made? I've seen like these people that had Pokemon cards that secretly had. I have seen them bully people on the playground for the same. Yeah, and then it's like, what is happening right now? But yeah, I feel like that is like a very 90s, early 2000s thing.
Yeah.
So Pokemon is really weird because, like, so I graduated high school in 2003, and it was not like if I would have been playing Pokemon in high school, which by that point in time I had when you're 16, 17, Pokemon's not really on your mind all that much, but I had played it. I had Pokemon Blue. I still have it somewhere, around here. And and yellow, and I didn't know a lot of people that did, but one of my younger friends, who's a few years younger than me, me and him played it together a lot, and there wasn't a real stigma around it for me to play it at that time. But then as I got older, then the cartoon came out, and that was, it was a cartoon. The adult cartoons weren't really a thing, and it was, mostly viewed towards children. And then the movie came out, and I can remember his younger brother wanted to go, and I was excited for it. What year did that come out? Maybe 2002, 2003.
Yeah.
And I wanted to go, but it was kind of like, it would be weird if I went by myself. And so I asked my buddy, I was like, hey, let's go. And he's like, oh, I can't go to that, man. I'll get made fun of if people find out I go to the Pokemon movie. But his younger brother wanted to go. So I took his younger brother so that I didn't look like I was I don't look like the weirdo who's
I'm doing my friend a favor.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, yeah, I was like, just tell everybody you're my little brother. I was like, yeah, I'm taking my little brother to the Pokemon movie. Yeah, I was excited and he was excited. And then it was good. I thought the first, I don't remember much about it, but I remember leaving it thinking, the movie was pretty good. And but he could not go. Like, he would have, if people found out I went to the Pokemon movie, I would never leave it down. Yeah. But if people found out I did, it was like, no, yeah, I took my buddy's little brother or whatever. So it was kind of, the stigma of Pokemon has been so weird in my life. I've seen it where it's like, people didn't really care. Even if I had gone, people I went to school with, they wouldn't have thought anything of it. But for him being just a few years younger, it was a super bad stigma. And then his brother, who was only 2 or 3 years younger than him, it was super cool for him. Like, he wanted to go because all of his friends got to go. And then, of course, now I love that there doesn't seem to be any stigma left. Like, if you can be any age and you can be a Pokemon fan, and it is totally okay. I think Pokemon Go had a lot to do with that, but
yeah,
I do appreciate it.
There's still some deep rednecks that still, and I didn't know. I thought it was gone too until like a month ago. Maybe it was like two months. COVID time is weird. So some time ago, and a guy at work has a tattoo of Squirtle, Charmander, and Bulbasaur on his arm. And I was like, okay, that's kind of cool. And one of the guys was talking about it, and he was like, have you seen Hosier's tattoo? I'm like, yeah, it's kind of cool. I didn't say it. I was like, yeah, I've seen it. He was like, how gay is that? I'm like, what? What? And he was like he legitimately was attaching this tattoo of Pokemon to homosexuality. Like, he was like, it wasn't even the bad gay, like the 90s gay where you say something's bad and it's just gay. It was like legitimate homosexuality. And I was just like, you lost me off in the weeds there, Greg. I just kind of went, I was just,
bro.
I was literally, and it doesn't happen a lot. You guys know I like to talk. Speechless.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I could see people getting mad at Pokemon Go because, these kids are in the street and blah, blah, blah. But outside of that specifically, it seems silly.
Yeah. It is silly. And I saw something on Twitter today, or yesterday, I think it was today, where someone was bashing on toy collectors, and everybody was below. It was just like, hey, is it hurting you? Just let people enjoy things.
Yeah.
Like,
I do feel like, because I remember vividly, like, kind of that 90s bullying where it was just where every kid was trying their best to be like cool. And if you weren't cool, then you definitely knew that you were not cool. And I think it has shifted. Like, I'm not claiming that bullying has stopped. There's definitely bullying going on, like, every day, everywhere. But like, what I never saw back when I was a kid that I see these days is people, like, they fight it kind of like head on when it's like, why do you care? Like, who gives a shit like what this person is doing? And leave them alone. Like, because I don't give a shit if someone collects Pokemon cards. Because if you fucking enjoy it, then collect fucking Pokemon cards.
Yeah.
I think a big part of it too, going back to like the 90s, is it was sports, right? Like if you wanted to be cool, you had to play sports.
The 90s were extreme.
Right. Because like I played tackle football in grade school. Like in 4th grade, we played tackle football. And like, I don't think 4th graders play tackle. I mean, maybe they still do. I don't know. But I think the information about injuries and things like that we have today, about kids pitching and all that kind of stuff. Like I'm like, I did not play sports. I tried. My parents made me. They said, you got to try out. We want you to try everything. I did play soccer. I enjoyed that because it's mostly just running. And then when I got older, I was a runner. Because I mean, it's a sport, it's athletic, but you just run. Like, I don't have to worry about anybody else. I don't have to worry about balls, throwing, catching. There's no strategy to running. You run and that's it. Like
you were literally built to run.
Yeah, and it helps that I'm like, I got these long, lanky arms. But I think that's a big part of the change in gamers. Bringing up the smartphones, that's an absolute big part of it. But I think there's become a little bit of a stigma, at least with the helicopter parents, against sports, that especially dangerous sports like football. And I see, and Rose mentioned, loving soccer. I think soccer is the best sport a kid can play. Absolutely. I think it's one of the safest sports. It gives them by far the most exercise. I think it's safer than even baseball. Baseball is boring. Don't subjugate your kids to baseball unless they absolutely love it. God, I hated baseball as a kid. I just stood out in the field picking weeds. Like, but I think there's become a little bit of that. There's a big push for kids to not play sports. I don't want to see sports go away. I think it's great for kids to be active. Kids shouldn't be at home playing video games all day long. But we have gotten, I think, because of that, that has erased the stigma from video games. That the schools can't shove sports down kids' throats like they used to be able to. And the people leading the schools don't do it. I think that's made it more of a, I wish there was more of a push towards arts. But I think as much as there is still a stigma against the violent video games, that's never going to go away. And that bleeds into other games. I know I'm kind of running long here, but I just want to point out one other thing. I don't know if you know this, Joe, but in your state, there's a senator that's trying to pass a bill against violent video games, and it would label any game where you kill an animal a violent video. You kill anything, another player, an NPC, or an animal, a violent video game. So think about that for a minute. That would mean, by definition, Minecraft would be rated mature. Because in Minecraft, you have to kill cows, or you can. And then even if you have to, if you can kill animals. And in any survival game, Mario would be considered. Yeah, well, you arguably, you're jumping on a turtle and killing it. That's a good. And I read the actual bill, and it did not state it had to be realistic. And I think that's probably where it would end up getting rewritten, where it would have to be like a realistic versus an animated. But even then, then it's like
that's interpretation, I think.
Right. Yeah, it would get tricky really quick. But the way it was written, it definitely would include Minecraft. So there's obviously people out there that do not like video games on any level, regardless of the reality. I think people misunderstand the I would like to see more push towards the arts in general, music and any painting, drawing, all of that stuff. And I think video games opens that door in a way that sports obviously never can and never will. And football on the faces. But yeah, I think I would love to see all of that kind of tied in together. And I think Minecraft, as much as I have disdain for Microsoft, I think they have done a really good job of throwing science into it and opening up those doors. So I hope that we see that more and more as time goes on, and then maybe we won't see the drop off in gamers like I predicted, because I never really thought about it from the entertainment point. All right,
Yeah,
so that was long. Sorry.
you're good. Yeah, I mean yeah, that does like open up a lot of creativity stuff. Because I think for a lot of people, you don't even some people, and especially it was for me, like I'm not an inherently creative person, but whenever I see what other people can do with whatever they're doing, sometimes that'll inspire me to do stuff. And I think that video games can open that up for a lot of people. Like just seeing what is possible to be expressed, not even what they're seeing, but the notion that something that they have in their head, and they're playing a video game and something just clicks just right. That's something that you can't really get from sports. And I agree. I don't think kids should be inside playing. I definitely played too many video games growing up. I did play some sports in high school, and I had a job and stuff. But I think that there is an appropriate place for both. And that isn't appreciated. It's not football or video games. You can do both.
Yep.
And it's too many people are, no, you're going to play football, you're not touching those video games, and that's just the end of it. That's the end of the discussion.
Yeah.
And I feel like all that does is just breed an unhealthy life or an unhealthy relationship between you and your kid.
Yeah, I trained judo for 8 years when I was a kid, from like childhood to like my mid-teenage years. And as a child, like I did not understand a lot of the what I would say abuse at this point. I was not like subjugated for any of it, but there were definitely. I remember this scrawny little kid who came to every practice, but every practice ended him being in tears. And his dad was fucking crazy. Like really wanted the kid to be the tippy top of the sport, like in our country. And it took like years, and I heard like afterwards from my own stepdad, who was involved in a lot of the training, that the dad, he got a setup like at home. So the kid came to practice, and then when practice got ended, they went home and practiced some more. Like the dad forced like judo on this kid who clearly did not want to be there. Like I can understand that now as older. And like when I was a kid, I thought it was like odd, like because I had no respect for him, because he was just this scrawny little kid who didn't know anything, couldn't do anything, and always it always ended in tears. Every single practice, he got hurt. Like I say hurt. He probably just pretended to get hurt because he didn't want to be there.
Mm-hmm.
It's fucking sad, like now, to think about it. And I do consider it as child abuse, because you're forcing that child to do something the child doesn't want to do.
Mm-hmm. And what sucks even more than the direct abuse is like what you said. Like your perception of him was that he was a wimpy, just a scrawny little kid, and that was all because he was made to cry by his father in front of his peers. Mm-hmm. So not only was it direct emotional abuse, it affected potential relationships with who knows how many kids, all because he made him cry. That's the tragic part. Like, not the whole thing is tragic. Fuck that guy on every level. And I know that there are parents out there that do that all over the place. I mean, think about how many kids are relentlessly bullied for just that exact situation. Like just that one thing. And it's the kid literally did nothing except not want to be there.
Ironically, I trained. When I first met him, I trained in one place in a town, and then we moved and yada yada. I like didn't see him in a lot of years, and then by happenstance, he came to the dojo that I was training in, like years and years later. He was still a short kid, like I'm a short dude, and his head came about my chest height. He was the most jacked up kid, a child that I've ever seen in my life. And he fucking dominated every tournament that he went to. So what ultimately pisses me off most today is that the father got his way. He forced that kid so much that the kid actually got to be one of Finland's,
just gave in.
Yeah, like legitimately, at least as a teenager, he was one of Finland's best judo practitioners.
Yeah.
I think it can go both ways too. I think parents can sometimes let the kid just do whatever they want.
Oh, I mean, yeah, definitely. I'm not saying that there's parenting is probably difficult. I'm never going to be a parent. So
right. Same here. I should say my parents made me play every sport. I had to try it for 1 year, and if I didn't like it, then I could quit. Like, I did baseball for a couple of years just because I had friends, and it was like we lived in another town, and that's when I got to see them. And then after like maybe 2 or 3 years of that, I was like, that's not for me. And then soccer, I did that. We didn't have soccer in my town. I had to go to fairly far to actually play. But well, I had to go from Heron to Marion. we didn't have soccer in Heron. But now a lot of schools do, and I love seeing how popular soccer is getting with younger kids. I actually got made fun of more for playing soccer than I did for playing video games in school, because I was the only kid in my school that played soccer.
That's because you Americans don't know greatness, even when it's in front of your fucking eyes.
It's how exactly. It's how it used to be. I think it's changing. I think people are seeing, Rose mentioned getting hit in the face with a soccer ball. I mean, it happens. You can get hurt playing soccer, but the chances getting hit in the face with a soccer ball and getting hit in the face with a baseball, I can tell you the baseball is way worse.
Yeah.
But it's a lot more likely with the soccer ball. But I think people are realizing that how great of a sport soccer is, especially for kids, because it teaches you teamwork. You have to run a lot. So they're moving around. It is a mostly non-contact, which is people like, you play that, sissy sport of soccer. And then I would bring my soccer ball to school and like, all right, let's play some soccer. And they'd be like, oh, I don't know what to do. Like,
here's the best thing for schools though, when it comes to I'll just say soccer. It doesn't cost anything. You need one ball.
You need a ball and two orange cones, 4 orange cones to set up some goals. You're right. You could just use sticks if you needed to.
I think
the
being
point.
made fun of is a regional thing, Nate. I think everybody around here doesn't like soccer.
That's back then. I think it's more popular now, but
it might be now. But I remember around this area when there was a lot of hate for soccer for a while.
A lot of hate, especially in Heron. And I don't know why. Which, to put it in perspective, Heron and Marion are just 2 towns. They're not even that far apart. They're like they're practically touch. But I had to go to Marion to play. I coached soccer in Heron when they built the fields over at the FBC there in Heron. But
this is like a big.
It's gotten bigger.
This is just a big 3 area, like baseball, basketball, football. Those are the sports that matter. And nothing like we didn't have in El Dorado, Harrisburg, any of those didn't have soccer either. I didn't know that there was even a soccer league in this area. Like because Marion I just assumed because everybody hated it.
Yeah, I mean, it was kids from all over that played, and you could only play to 6th grade, and so after 6th grade, I didn't. That's why I switched.
I was so strong.
Yeah, I was like, how do I play soccer? What's the closest sport to soccer? And it's literally just track and cross country. So that's what I did.
I was gonna say they made you a kicker in football because that's what we did we had some exchange students.
I probably could have.
That I had an Italian exchange student that lived with me for a year, my senior year, and that's what we did with him. We don't have a swim team, and the only two sports he did were soccer and swimming. So we don't have a swim team, we don't have a soccer team, so we made him a kicker.
Was he good?
Funny.
No. It was awful. The first time he did it, he totally squibbed it, and it just went head over thing, and it was like a cartoon. He went like looked at us on the sideline. It was so funny.
I mean, kicking a soccer ball and a football is very different.
Not at all the same. Yeah, it was so fun. I don't think anyone actually showed. I think they just assumed that he would know. I don't think anyone actually showed him how to kick a football. Because, I mean, it didn't go like 10 feet in front of him before it hit the ground and just started rolling. And I was a lineman, so I wasn't out there at that point. And he just looks over at us and he's like, "Oh gosh, man." It was so funny. Yeah, I felt bad for him. We were all just like, "Tommaso, run, grab it!" It was so bad. Oh, yeah, it was a good time though.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
Anyway,
whew.
Thanks for watching, everyone.
Yeah, it was a good episode. Went by quick. A lot of fun.
It did. I was just not looking. I was like, "Oh my gosh!" After 8. Thanks for having me on again. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
It's always a pleasure.
Fun.
We tried to get a fourth one today, but it did not pan out, unfortunately. Yeah. In 2 weeks, who knows?
Actually, I think it'll be 3. I think March has 5 weeks.
Yeah, well,
it does. Yeah, there's one more Wednesday left this month.
Yeah, so it'll be 3 weeks.
That is the truth.
Yeah. I only know because my 5th Wednesdays are the only Wednesday that I don't do anything. I do this and then lodge every other Wednesday. So my 5th Wednesdays are just a free night that I enjoy.
Anyway, we stream sometimes. I haven't streamed in a while after I got the hundo in Isaac. I will be back.
I'll be streaming tomorrow.
Oh, you will? Will you do Dino Crisis?
Probably not Dino Crisis. I'll probably do FF. I think I need to set my FrameMeister back up for my PS2. But
okay.
I definitely will end up streaming it just because it's so goofy. Maybe I'll find the other 2 and play all 3 of them and just hate myself.
Dang,
it's still got the points thing. Still got the points corner. Shoot, I'm gonna get me 20 Dino Crisis points. God,
I'm at that point where I'm kind of close to abandoning my Final Fantasy 12 playthrough.
Uh-oh.
Kind of lost interest.
Because it's not good.
Not the stream, the game.
I will not defend myself right now.
No, the streams are great.
I really want to do Dishonored too. And I don't know if I have enough time. I might just like wait until next week's Wednesday, because that's when the Isaac DLC comes out, and I will definitely fucking be playing that. But
sure.
Yeah, I have not. I also have not been streaming, but I have been working a crap ton. I am going to be streaming this weekend. Sunday is actually my birthday, so we are actually, as pointed out, Risk of Rain 2 updates tomorrow. I thought it was on Friday, but it is tomorrow. So I think that's actually what I'm going to be streaming with a couple buddies this weekend.
Nice. And that adds the bandit, right?
I believe so, and some bug fixes, and I haven't actually read through everything. I know it adds tomorrow at 10 a.m. Nice.
Bandit was my favorite character in Risk of Rain 1.
Yeah. There are some mods that throw it in there, so I'll be curious to see how they compare to the mods. But modding's been buggy, and they're supposed to fix some of that. It's actually make some of that a little bit smoother. I'm gonna try. The last time I played Risk of Rain, we had 7 people because there is an 8-player mod. So I don't think I'm going to be able to get quite that many this time, but we're actually going to try to get a group of 6 to 8 on Sunday to stream that. So we'll see how that goes. And,
Right.
but yeah,
Should be a good time.
Yeah. If you're watching on YouTube, thanks for getting this far. and also get over on Twitch, please. This is way better here.
Rosa's lonely.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, I see your friend request, Rose. So I'll message you and let you know.
Yeah.
I'm lonely in here for sure.
Yeah, but yeah, YouTube uploads are going normally. I will upload this episode to YouTube too in this week. Probably gonna be a weekend thing. Probably it's easy to upload now because I work here at the same I work and I have my leisure time at the same spot, so I can render episodes when I'm working and upload them when I'm working.
Nice.
It's real handy.
Don't forget you have a website now too, Tom.
Yeah, we have a website, pantslesspodcast.com. It redirects to the Twitch page.
Twitch. For now, though, we'll talk about that later. About maybe adding a little bit more panache to it.
A little more links.
I'm leaving
to
Yeah, I'm gonna leave it up to. Yeah, I'm gonna leave that up to you how you want it.
Oh yeah, I gotta have to think about it. Anyway, yeah, thanks for watching, everyone. We'll be back in next month. God, March is almost over. I
know.
Time has no meaning anymore. It was just yesterday when it was Christmas,
Yeah.
And yeah. The hellscape landscape will continue. Still in COVID. And hopefully not too long anymore. Although I have lost all my hope in humanity at this point. I'm gearing up for a real like Fallout scenario where I get to be a raider.
Well, everybody's going to be dead at first, and then about a year later, they're all going to show back up. If Fallout 76 taught me anything, that's how the apocalypse happens.
Exactly.
So, be prepared for you and up to 3 of your friends to be the only people that exist.
Yep.
Oh,
yep.
God.
We'll be back next month. See you, everyone. Bye.
Bye.